We asked a guy with synesthesia what a bunch of songs taste like. This article originally appeared on Noisy UK. Ever since I can remember, I've seen words in colors. These colors are constant and unchangeable, and as much an intrinsic property of the word as the arrangement of the letters. The word pal, for instance, is always neon green. The word bollocks is always light blue. The word agreeable is always pillar box red, and so on. I had no idea this wasn't the way everyone perceived language until I once mentioned to my mate that Wednesday is so obviously yellow, and she looked at me as if I'd just offered to sacrifice my firstborn child. After some frantic Googling, I discovered I had a mild and relatively common form of synesthesia, grapheme color synesthesia, and not an incurable brain tumor, as I'd briefly suspected. What's less common, however, are other forms of synesthesia. Lexical gustatory synesthesia, for instance, is experienced by less than 0.2% of the world's population, and refers to when people can taste sounds. In other words, that new Stormzy track might taste like ginger biscuits and barbecued meat, or your fave Alia jam might conjure up the sweet deliciousness of blueberry pie. We wanted to know more about this very strange, almost superhero-style phenomenon, so we contacted the UK Synaesthesia Association. They put us in touch one of their committee members, James Wannerton, who can taste sounds to a pretty extreme level, and who has collaborated with Music Magpie for research surrounding this phenomenon in the past. As such, we sent him a playlist, he listened to the tracks, and then he kindly told us the flavors of each. Dave and Jehu's Samantha Noisy, so, let's start with this Dave and Jehu's track. James Wannerton, ah yes, this one had a very strong piano introduction. For me, pianos always have the taste and texture of pineapple chunks. Usually, they were the sweet tin ones, but in this case, they were large, fresh pineapple chunks. What about the lyrics? I don't usually like lyric-filled songs because they give me too many flavors, but in this song the vocals were mumbled so it wasn't too much. What I did get from the vocals were a really strong taste of Garibaldi biscuits. Also, there was some Madeira cake in there. So it was quite a sweet song? Not unpleasant? It wasn't unpleasant, but I'll tell you why it wasn't one of my favorites. It was relatively bland. I know it had pineapple chunks, but after that, it wasn't that strong. The Lemon Twigs. These words. I'm interested to hear about what this Lemon Twigs song tasted like, as there's so much going in here. Ah yeah. Funnily enough, and this must have something to do with the semantics, it gave me the taste of lemon sorbet, and a few lemon pips. The whole thing didn't have much texture or substance, though. Although actually, from the lyrics, I got toffee sensations and a few fruit gums, you know Roundtree's fruit gums? I got them as well. From what I've heard so far, you've got quite a sweet palate. So far, yeah. When there are lyrics they are sometimes less so. What about my name? What do I taste like? Big chunks of butter. When you speak to me, it changes slightly, and it goes somewhere between butter and margarine. If I met you, it would change depending on what you look like, but the base note would always be that buttery taste. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Piero Piscini Camille 2000. What are your thoughts on this Piero Piscini song? Obviously, it has no vocals. An orchestral introduction is usually very nice for me, I get some meaty tastes in there, but it's usually sweet. In this case though, as it sounded muffled, it downgraded. It tasted like a wine gum that yelled had for too long, so it lost most of its flavor and maybe my hearing's going. What about when those beats come in? There were processed peas in there. It must have been the sound of a drum, which was quite tinny. There was also pineapple chunks in there, very small ones, so there must have been piano in there somewhere too. Slipknot Wait and Bleed. And now for something completely different, Slipknot. This song tasted weird. There was lots and lots of chocolate, solid, hard chocolate, probably a Yorkie bar. There was also brown bread crusts in there, just the crusts. I guess that makes sense. Did the flavor change throughout the song? Definitely. There was a lot of marzipan in there, which was related to the vocals. The lyrics didn't mean anything to me because the singer was shouting. But, I tell you what was really strange about this, I got the taste of these sweets I used to have for sore throats when I was a child. I don't know if that's because the singer yelled a lot, so it triggered that memory. That ruined the whole thing for me, to be honest. If you try a new dish, will it pop up in a song later? Yeah, that happens. But sometimes, I can taste something and I won't have a clue as to where it came from. It's like, what's that? Those are the really distracting ones because I sit there trying to work it out for ages.